Hello everyone, my name is Bhargav Chakravarti. I'm a final year student at NLS Bangalore as well as the legal head at Flat Tutor. The case that I shall discuss right now is Subhash Kumar versus State of UP. These are some basic facts about the case, and the primary issue in the case is with respect to consent under Section 375 of the IPC, and more specifically, what constitutes misconception of fact vitiating consent for considering the offense under Section 375. So, the brief facts of the case was that the second respondent had developed friendship with the appellant and he had assured that he would marry her. And this is the fulcrum of the case, this assurance of marrying, and whether there was a lack of genuineness and integrity in when this statement of this assurance of marrying was made. So it was stated that after this assurance was given, that she was exploited physically for 1.5 years, and that the second respondent had also spoken to the parents and sister of the appellant, where the father of the appellant, for example, had informed the second respondent that he would arrange the marriage of the appellant with her. And this was all alleged by the second respondent, the complainant here, that the appellant has said to gone back to his home, and after going back, there was a phone call that was made where he had wished to perform court marriage, and that the second respondent was to come to Jhansi to meet him. Now it was here where the incident had gone down, where essentially the second respondent had alleged that after she had gone there, on reaching the residence, the appellant the residence of the appellant, she was informed by the father of the appellant that that the appellant does not want to marry her, and that they do not want to maintain any further contact with her. And she also alleged that she was abused by them. So the decision of the court, as based on the factual circumstances and the law, as per vitiation of consent, uh, or misconception of misconception of fact vitiating consent. So here the facts that were ascertained by the court was that as per the FIR and the section 164 of CRPC, which is the witness statements that was gathered by the police, was that the relationship between the appellant and the second respondent was of a consensual nature, and that the parties were in the relationship for about a period of 1.5 years, and that subsequently the appellant had expressed a disinclination to marry the second respondent. But what is important is subsequently this disinclination had happened. So there's no allegation to the effect that the promise to marry given to the second respondent was false at the inception. So, on the contrary, it would appear from the contents of the FIR that there was a subsequent refusal on the part of the appellant to marry the respondent, which gave rise to the registration of the FIR. Now, the legal position on misconception of fact for Section 375 is that, and this was laid down in the case of Pramod Suryabhan Pawar versus State of Maharashtra, was that where the promise to marry is false and the intention of the maker at the time of making the promise itself was not to abide by it, but to deceive the woman, to convince her to engage in sexual relations, there is a misconception of fact that vitiates the woman's consent. On the other hand, a breach of promise cannot be said to be a false promise. Now, this is what is important here. The disinclination to marry in the present case happened subsequently. It did not happen at the inception, right? So, this does not constitute misconception of fact so as to vitiate consent under Section 375. The promise of marriage must have been a false promise given in bad faith and with no intention of being adhered to at the time it was given. Now, from the case, you can see that the father's conduct, it was clearly shown that there was some inclination the when the assurance was made. That was why you can assume that the fathers and the sisters got involved in the whole case to begin with. Now, from a feminist jurisprudence, you might find different problems in the case, and that is possible, and there are different views that you could have. But presently, on this court did a good job by referring to the legal position here with respect to misconception of fact and construing and clearing up this legal position with respect to what constitutes misconception of fact under section 375. So thank you for watching this video, and if you have any comments, make sure to post them in the comment section. Thank you.